Alrighty, hi guys, and welcome back or welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Bridget, and I have definitely some stories that I've written down and will not forget. And here is one of them. So let's go ahead and have as much fun as we can with these videos, and let's go ahead and get started, guys. Anyways, I have episodes where I will basically just throw up for hours on end. They will last days. Sometimes a lot of episodes will just go on for months. So pretty much, I have to sometimes call ambulances because these episodes will just get so bad I will not be able to move. And because of my rheumatoid arthritis and my fibromyalgia, I will be stuck throwing up, and then it'll just make my RA and my fibromyalgia flare up, and I will literally just feel like my bones are breaking into pieces, and I'll just feel like I'm gonna pass out from the pain. So I'll end up calling the ambulance, and I've had so many interactions with ambulance EMTs, and a lot not the best, sadly. In the past 10 years I've had well over 100 rides in the ambulance, sadly, but I have definitely some stories that I've written down and will not forget, and here is one of them. So pretty much another episode, I was throwing up for about 6 hours this day. I woke up at about 1 a.m. and I didn't call my ambulance till about 8 in the morning. I usually give myself a span to try as much as I can to just stick it out at home and not go to the ER, but obviously after 7 to 8 hours of throwing up, there's only so much you can do. So I called an ambulance, and at that time I lived not too far from my home hospital where I got my transplant. So when the ambulance got there, they asked me where I wanted to be taken, and I told them Loma Linda. And they were like, you know what, like you are in so much pain, how about we just take you to the closest hospital so we can go ahead and get you some care. And honestly, at this point, I was just in so much pain. I was like, okay, yes, let's just go ahead and get me to the closest hospital because I'm dying in pain. So the closest hospital was a Kaiser, so I wasn't too fond of that. But we go ahead and we get there, and there's 3 patients in front of me that were also brought in the ambulance. So they were like, it's gonna be a minute before you get to bed. I was like, gosh, like if I went to my home hospital, Loma Linda, I wouldn't have waited because I'm a transplant patient and they put you in priority. So I was already just kind of annoyed, but whatever. So I'm waiting for a bed, and next thing I know, there's a guy that gets in, that comes in an ambulance right behind me, and he just gets taken off to the side, and a doctor comes right over to him, and the guy explains that I guess he fell off some stairs at his house and he believes he hurt his back, and the doctor was like, okay, well, we're gonna go ahead, get you an IV, get an x-ray, and we'll get you some pain medication, and like you should be good and taken care of. And I look over and I'm like, what the heck? And obviously I understand, some doctors, they get their patients differently, and like there's express and all that stuff. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm kind of like throwing up like in like a ton of pain over here. Can someone please help me? And I have an IV at this point, so they could give me Reglan or Zofran. You don't need a doctor because those are only anti-nausea medications. So a charge nurse or even EMT could give me those medications. So we're waiting for this, and I'm like asking the EMTs, I'm like, can we do anything? I'm throwing up, like I'm in so much pain. Can we please do anything? So the EMT is like, yeah, if you go ahead and if you sign this paper, then we'll go ahead and we'll take you to Loma Linda. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, yeah, please, thank you. So he's like, yeah, just go ahead and sign this and we'll go ahead and take you to Loma Linda. And then he hands me this piece of paper and he walks away. And then I'm laying there in my gurney. I have the other EMT that's with me, and then I have 2 other EMTs at the end of my bed that are with another patient. And when I sign that piece of paper, I hand it to the EMT that's with me, and he walks away. And the 2 EMTs that are at the end of my bed are like, those are your discharge papers. They can't take you to another hospital. And I was like, wait, what? I was like, he literally just told me that if I signed those papers, he would take me to Loma Linda. And he was like, no, they can't do that. And I was like, what? So 2 seconds later, the EMT, my EMT walks back over to me, and he's like, just looks me straight in my eyes and says, we're not a concierge service, we're not an Uber, we're not taking you anywhere else. And I was just like, you literally just told me to sign these papers so you could take me somewhere else. He's like, we're not Uber, we're not taking you anywhere else. So we're just gonna have to wheel you back to the lobby. And I was like, are you kidding me? And I had my mom on FaceTime, so I'm just bawling my eyes out, and my mom is hearing what's going on, and she's like, what's his name? So I look over at him and I was like, what is your name? And he just moves like his jacket and he's like, can you not read? My eyes are filled with tears. I'm just crying. I'm throwing up. I'm in so much pain. This jerk is not helping me at all. And I was, again, just beside myself that this was happening. So I went from being in a gurney, being checked in, to hopefully seeing a doctor, to these EMTs discharged me, which meant that I was no longer in line to see a doctor. They made me get out of the bed and they put me in a wheelchair and they wheeled me to the front of the hospital and they left me there. My mom couldn't come because I believe she was I believe she was out of state for work at the time, and my sister was at work, so she wasn't going to be able to be there for the next hour or two. So I went back and rolled myself into the ER waiting room and checked myself in, and I waited about 3 or 4 hours until I was able to see a doctor. So I continued to sit in the waiting room and throw up, and I just remember I was in a wheelchair and I got up and just laid on the chairs and curled up into a little ball and was just throwing up, and just laid there for hours until I finally got help again. And I remember we called the chief and we filed a complaint, and they were like, oh yeah, like we'll reprimand them, we'll talk to them, don't worry. Of course, I obviously don't think anything happened. Yes, another crazy not horror story, but just another crazy story that I have for you guys, as I will be having plenty of others. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'll be sharing a lot more with you guys. I'm not really quite sure if the next one's going to be a story time or what I really am going to do next, but don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Thank you so much. Bye.